Hey, good afternoon everyone, it's Krebs here, and today I'm going to be showing you some gameplay footage from the 1.29 patch of War Thunder. This is the preview test server, so the dev server. You can't actually get on this server normally unless it's during specific times that they have it open, and that's the thing about it. It's very hard to actually get onto the server. The times are so specific, they're very limited to a number of hours, and it's kind of difficult to get on. So what I thought I'd be able to do for you guys is actually show you some gameplay that I managed to acquire whilst I had about an hour or so access to the actual game. It was a lot to absorb, and I won't be able to actually highlight everything that I've managed to see because I only did record one game. I wish I recorded the layout, the game user interface, before you actually get into a battle, but I'll speak about it briefly. And I'll show you some actual gameplay footage along with actually talking about it. And in the future, when I do get access again, I will show you guys what the user interface and such is like. It's a lot of new changes and a lot to talk about, so chances are I might miss over or talk over a few points, but don't worry about it. I'm going to be posting the complete patch notes in the description box below, hopefully, if YouTube can actually fit it. So let's go ahead and start off with right over here. This is the new login screen that they have, and it's actually really cool. One reason being because it's almost like a holographic. When you scroll from side to side, what you'll notice is that the foreground moves whilst the background stays the same. And it's almost reminiscent and a bit nostalgic of, you know, when you were a kid and you had a planner at school and they had the holographic cover. It sort of reminds me of that, and it's actually a really nice touch to add to the beginning. But when you try to log in, this is the dev server, mind you. I'm going to be trying to log in just now. Chances are you'll get this message in front of your screen. Your game was not activated for your account. That is because the servers are down just now and you can't get on. As I was saying, very specific times to get on. Okay, so since I can't show you the interface, I'm going to show you guys some gameplay footage along with talking about some points. Okay, so one of the first things that you'll notice once you actually load into the actual game is the completely revamped and now sexy looking user interface. I think it actually looks great, a great improvement over the old one. Before you had floating buttons where your friend list was and your inbox and messages. Now it's all conveniently located at the top. So, now that that's been changed, you have the two battle button along the right hand side just above your planes, and once you click that, it shows you the option of your game choices. If you want to go into arcade battle, historical, full real battle, you can choose your countries. You can all see this in front of your screen. I can't actually show you, like, you know, move my cursor around because this is pre-recorded, but hey ho. You also can choose different modes, and you know how we have normally Domination and Ground Strike? Well, apparently there's going to be a new mode called Operations. Teasing us, are you, Gaijin Entertainment? So I briefly took a look at it. I can't actually show you guys right now, but if you highlight that Operations, it tells you what it's about. It's basically like you have ground, it's like Ground Strike, except you'll have to defend your ground targets against enemy ground targets and also enemy fighters, and that's how you get points, by destroying enemy ground targets and their fighters and defending yours. Along with that, you can actually see why it takes so long to get into a game. So you have an average waiting time. If you actually highlight that, it shows you what it takes into consideration. And one of them is actually efficiency rating. So yes, efficiency rating does exist in this game. I hope it doesn't become like ridiculous in ridiculous proportions. Like they're gonna put like a really skilled person who's playing in a reserve playing in jet matches. That'd be absolutely crap. But apparently it will be taken into consideration. Who knows how it's calculated. Another thing is you actually see that there's a wee chart showing your ranks. So 0 to 2, 1 to 0 to 1. I can't even see them. Oh, my eyes. I'm so blind. You know, 6 to 7, so on and so forth, whatever. And it shows you how many people are going to be waiting in that queue for each rank, what the countries are, and how long you're expected to actually wait for each country. Interesting stuff, but it's actually nice to see that there's actually some sort of matchmaking going on. Who knows if it's going to be like, oh, 6s and 7s can only play with 6s and 7s, and reserves can only play with reserves. Maybe it's going to still be just like the old server where they're going to be mixing and matching from high to low, but at least we have some sort of basis of what to look at the moment. What has it been like in a dev server? It's been pretty much the same as the old server. You got jets mixed in with lower tier planes, but I think that's because of the long waiting times, because there's not that many people actually playing the dev server. But I imagine once you actually have a lot of people playing, won't be any problem with matchmaking. Should be absolutely fine. A lot has changed, absolutely tons. You can see it in front of your screen, but what you'll notice is that there's different sort of toggle points, things that you can change. You notice that some of them is actually, I'm struggling to see this right now. It's Shell Rack 1 and Shell Rack 2. That is going to be the introduction of ammunition belts. If you guys have been reading the patch notes, that's actually going to be where you're going to be selecting your different rounds you want to use for your machine guns, cannons, and so on and so forth. They've actually shown off a lot, and I wish I could show you this in front of your screen because I didn't record the actual user interface, but they've got a big variety of different ammunitions available. So you got, for example, armor-piercing shells, you've got HE rounds, you've got tracer rounds, you've got incendiary rounds, and you can even mix and match those. You can have armor-piercing I, for example, which would be armor-piercing with incendiary in it. And these are exactly the same as modules, so if you're used to actually, buying pylons and whatever else, it's exactly the same thing. You're going to be buying different belts and you can mix and match to what's your style. Some belts are more expensive than others, such as the stealth belt. You guys will see this in a future episode to make more sense, but I'm just saying it here, right here, right now. Another big change is the fuel tank. There's no more 5 minutes of fuel. When you go into a fighter, for example, you'll have about 45 minutes of fuel. Does this mean it's actually going to be that you're using fuel up during a game? I don't really know, to be honest. I haven't played that much to actually see a difference, but I think it might actually be that you use fuel now in arcade battles. That's an interesting point. No more 5 minutes of fuel, you're going to have bigger fuel amounts, and you might actually have to use it now. Cool stuff indeed. Bombers are now going to be useful. They will be able to farm XP and lions. Now you have the availability of multipliers, and you'll see this when I'm actually doing these bombing runs. But you can actually, the more targets you destroy, the bigger your multiplier gets, and you'll notice how it's racking on up, and the achievements are coming in left and right. Really cool stuff. Now the bombers are actually useful. You've also got a plethora of new planes introduced to the game. Again, another thing I wish I could show you in the user interface. But you can see that I'm flying with Dornier, German plane, a new one that's been added. It's essentially a gigantic attacker, almost like as if it was the Germans' response to the Beaufighter. It's essentially a bigger version of the Beaufighter, and it has the firepower near enough like a Beaufighter. It's got 4 20mm FF cannons. Those are 20mm FF cannons. They're not the 151, so not as powerful as the 151s, but still, 4 of them, that's a lot of firepower to offer. And in fact, it just plays exactly like a Beaufighter. It's like a boom and zoomer. So if you've played the Beaufighter before, you'll feel exactly at home when you're flying this thing. Another good point to mention about bombers is that they're actually like tanks now. You'll notice that whenever you're taking on bombers, it's going to be a lot harder to actually shoot them down. They can take a lot of shots. In fact, they're actually living up to the name of flying fortresses. The repair costs of planes are so much better now. They've been reduced severely. In fact, for example, I had the Yak 9T. I was taking a look at it, just to see what it is. It's a benchmark plane, the Yak 9T. In the normal server, it's something like 4,000, 5,000 to repair it. In the new server, it's 1,300 lions to repair it. Another good example, the H6K for the Japanese, that big gigantic banana plane as I like to call it. In the normal server it's around 13,000 lions to repair, and the new server it's about 8,000. So everything is cheaper, and it's going to help people who have been struggling to actually repair their planes with this new economy system. And another little cool tidbit that I actually noticed, and I haven't seen this in the patch notes, but when you actually set somebody on fire, they're not guaranteed to explode. Because what we're used to in 1.27 is if you're set on fire, you're gonna die eventually. You're gonna explode instantly or within a few seconds, sometimes 30 seconds, whatever, but you're gonna die eventually. What I noticed was actually I set somebody on fire and he didn't actually explode. The fire was snuffed out. Maybe that's an accumulation of the amount of airflow and the throttle being reduced to snuff out the fire. I have no idea, but that's actually really nice to see that coming into play. you're not guaranteed to die anymore. Okay, so that's all for now. I know there's still so much more to actually see and talk about, but this is the dev server for you guys. This is all pre-recorded footage. I wish I recorded some more, but the times to get onto the server are just really, really difficult. It's so notorious how hard it is. So as soon as it does come back online again, I'm going to try to get more footage and talk about some more stuff, because there's plenty more to take a look at. So anyway, guys, make sure you look forward to this space and keep a watch on it, because more of these videos will come. Until next time, I will catch you all later.
Right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.